Good morning, friends. Today, Nilvit Learning is organizing the webinar on abroad studies. Today, we have Mr. Hardik Gandhi, expert and advisor. Hardik Gandhi is a content writer, strategist by profession, and has spent 9 years as a content writer. With this, he has worked with several organizations in India into different roles. And one such role was of an overseas education counselor. He has spent a good amount of time into the overseas education industry also. He is currently working towards using his knowledge and the online medium to reach out to more and more people in order to create a strong positive impact on people's lives. So not taking much of ours, I will hand. Hello.
Yes, Keshav. I'm sorry, there was some network issue at my end. I
No
hope
problem.
I hope I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, yes, we can hear you, sir.
Great. So good morning, everybody. My name is Hardik, and thank you so much for having me on this platform and giving me this opportunity to to deliver this session on overseas education. uh, it's 11:04 and we have 18 participants. I think we will just wait for another 5 minutes and then we will start off with the session. Is that okay? If it's okay, please give me a thumbs up, or you can raise your hand. You can give me a thumbs up. You can type yes on the chat box as well. Great. Okay, so while we wait for people to join in, I can see there are a couple of people joining in yet. Um, I can see many new names here. Okay, I would request if all the participants are comfortable enough, if you can turn on your camera, that would be something which would give me, would I would say give me confidence, and it'll boost my confidence to a level wherein I would have a feeling that I'm talking to you in person, one to one. क्योंकि इसमें कैसा होता है ना कि अगर आप ऑनलाइन हो और सुन रहे हो, और अगर आपका कैमरा ऑन है, तो जितने भी बड़े लीडर्स हैं, जितने बड़े स्पीकर्स हैं, वो ऐसा कहता है कि उनका मानना है कि ये सच है कि अगर आपका कैमरा ऑन है, दैट मीन्स यू आर अटेंटिव इन द सेशन. बाकी कैसा होता है कि ठीक है, सेशन को ज्वाइन करने के लिए ज्वाइन कर लिया, साइड में कुछ काम कर रहे हैं, आधा सुना आधा नहीं सुना, तो ये सारी चीजें होती है. तो ये सारी चीजों को अवॉइड करने के लिए आप अपना कैमरा ऑन कर सकते हो. ऑन कर देते हो तो आपका पूरा का पूरा अटेंशन स्क्रीन पे रहेगा. Manju Priya, you are saying that you want me to speak in English? Okay, sure, Manju Priya. I would put it as a mix of English and Hindi because we have participants from, from all over India, and I wanted to be okay. So I'm getting messages on the chat box wherein people are requesting me to speak in English. So Mimi Roy, so how many of you are okay if I deliver the entire session only in English? If yes, please type yes. If no, please type no on the chat box. Okay. Yes, I am getting a lot of responses. Okay. Ambika saying you're comfortable in both. Okay. Okay, so majority people, majority of you guys, you want this session to be delivered in English, and so will I, right? So reiterating the first part, whatever I delivered or whatever I was talking in Hindi, it is always said that if you keep your camera on during a session, like you are in this room, you are to the speaker or to the center. If you have your camera, psychologically, it develops your, it provides this message to your subconscious mind that somebody is looking at you and you will be more attentive when compared to the previous case where your camera is not on, right? I can still see many people have turned their cameras on, but there are still many people who haven't. So I would request again, please turn on your cameras, sit in a comfortable position, do have a pen and a paper handy with you so that whatever information I provide in this session, you please make notes, because this is going to be a session, and this is going to be a session for people who are literally really looking forward to study in overseas, in the overseas education, or looking forward to make their career in the overseas education space, right? And this is not going to be a session wherein only I am going to talk. I would need responses from you guys so that this is going to be a not a one and only one session, but it's going to be an interactive session. How many of you guys are okay with it? If you're okay with it, please give me a thumbs up, or you can type yes on the chat box. Thumbs up. Okay. Great. Okay, so how many of you guys are overseas, like looking forward to study overseas? If yes, please type yes on the chat box. And if you guys are planning to study overseas, which country are you planning to study overseas in? Like which country in the entire world? If you can type in the name of the countries. USA, okay, USA, Malaysia, Singapore, USA, Russia, great, okay. More, I want everybody of you to, involve in this, everybody's involvement is necessary, because you never know, your information would be an answer to somebody else who wanted to ask the same question, right? South Korea, India, okay. Canada, okay. Great. So I do have people who are really looking forward to study overseas in different countries. So without wasting much time, I'm going to share my screen. Give me a moment. Are you guys able to see my screen? If yes, please type yes on the chat box. Great. Okay, so overseas education. So the session is going to be a snapshot, is going to be a basic session wherein I would be giving you information, or I would be delivering information about a couple of countries, a couple of do's and don'ts that you need to take care of while preparing to study abroad. So again, one last request, please turn on your cameras so that you have full attention on this session, and please do keep a pen and a paper handy. so that you make notes, and these notes are going to be helpful for you in the upcoming future. Who do you know these personalities who have studied in the overseas education space? The first picture, who is it? Who is the person? I want you to reply, yes, Anil Ambani, correct. And Mr. Anil Ambani has studied MBA from University of Pennsylvania. How many of you knew that? How many of you knew that? Ambika says she knew. Okay, great. Anybody else? Mimi says she knew. Great. Second picture, Mr. Ratan Tata. Do you know which university he has studied into overseas, like into the overseas space? If you know, please type yes, and you can type the name of the city of the country. New York. Okay. Ambika says New York. Okay. Anybody else? He studied his advanced management at the Harvard Business School, one of the top universities or one of the top business schools in the world. Third picture. Who's this person? Mr. Kumara Mangalam Birla. Do you know who this guy is? Kumaraji, yes. I don't have any idea. Okay, no problem. Correct. Vishal says, Vishal, you're correct. 100%. He is the founder and the MD of the Birla Group. And he has done his MBA from London Business School, one of the top business schools in the world. Who's this person in the fourth photo? If anybody knows the answer, please type the name in the chat box. Okay, I don't see any responses. He is Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, the MD of Bajaj Motors. He's done his MS in mechanical engineering in the University of Warwick in the UK. So there are a few more photos, a few more people I wanted to share with you guys. Do you know who the first person is? If you know, please type in the name of the person. Dhirubhai Ambani, Shweta says no, he's not. He's Mr. Vikram Sarabhai. Do you know who Mr. Vikram Sarabhai is? If you don't, please. Yes, Ambika says yes. So Mr. Vikram Sarabhai, we do give perfect. He has done his studies from the University of Cambridge. Do you know who is in the second picture? These are people from India who has, or these are people from, they are Indian origin people who has earned great respect, great name into the overseas market. His name is Mr. Arun Sarin, and he has done his, he is the CEO, ex-chairman for Vodafone. He's done his business. He studied from the Haas School of Business in Berkeley, USA. Third person, Miss Indra Nui. She is the CEO of Pepsi. She has done her studies from the Yale School of Management. And the fourth picture, everybody knows him, Mr. Sundar Pichai. He has done his MS from the Stanford University, and he's the CEO of Google. How many of you guys, please pay attention to this question. How many of you guys know the reason why you want to study abroad? If you know the reason, type in yes, and then the reason. If you don't know the reason, if you're just going with the flow, type no. Yes, sir. Okay. Mimi says she knows the reason why she wants to study abroad. Vishal says yes. Okay. Who's this person with the name Red MI Note? Can you please rename so that I am able to address you properly? Please rename, go to the settings and please rename and put in your name so that I can address you properly. Yes, so you know why do you want to study abroad? That is something which needs to be the first step, right? Okay, so here we are going to see what are the reasons why do you want to study abroad. If you know the reasons, what is your reason of studying abroad? If you know the reason, please put in your reason in the chat box. I can see. I want you to put in your reason. Please go ahead. Please, Mimi, please put your reason on the chat box. Practical knowledge is more there. Perfect. What else? We get more exposure on there. Okay, great. That's perfect. You can just type in one word if you, okay, exposure. Ambika, that's perfect. You're right. Culture. Junisha says she wants, her reason is culture, earn knowledge and money, more opportunities. Absolutely, you guys are absolutely correct. So these reasons are common reasons why an individual wants to study abroad, right? Here in this slide, there are other things which also will draw your attention and will help you. Mimi says, I want to study abroad because we can earn and get a lot of knowledge and more opportunities to get work, the work, sir. Perfect. Mimi, you're 100% correct. So here is a list of reasons why an individual needs to have to be able to study abroad or to be able to go abroad, study, and then settle, right? The first reason is exposure to international cultures. So whichever country you select, you select Canada, you select Australia, you select New Zealand, you select UK, you select Singapore, Germany, anywhere, whichever country we go to, there are students from other countries, and that gives an opportunity for us, so that we learn from different cultures. We have exposure from different cultures. The next reason would be the degrees that an individual or international student gets has a recognition, is accepted all over the world, and the education is like the quality of education is to an optimum level. Immense career growth. Yes, Mimi, you said whatever you said, you are right. You're right. Immense career growth. Career growth is one of the major reasons and why people wish to go abroad to study further. This is one of my favorite reasons. This is one of the reasons wherein I have heard this reason from multiple students over the years, whomever I have spoken, whoever I have counseled in the overseas education space. Because once you are out of your city, once you're out of your comfort zone, once you're into the different city or into a different country, you have this opportunity to travel across boundaries. And this is one of the best reasons why I feel students need to have in order to study further or in order to study in the overseas education sector. Gain independence and become self-reliant. Over the period of years, I have with number of conversations with number of students, most of the parents do mention this, that students, whenever we are in our own home country, in our own space, in our own home, we generally become dependent on smaller things, on people in our family, and on we get dependent on with friends. But once an individual goes out of the country, goes out of the home, you have to become completely self-reliant, and the independence that you have or that you get depends, or it gives you an opportunity, or it gives you an opportunity to think which direction you want to go to. Breaking the stereotype. You know why this point? Because I am not trying to deframe or give a reason wherein studies in India is not good, but one of the best examples that I would give you here is I had a student and she had done her master's in mechanical engineering, but then she had done the master's in mechanical engineering, but her side interest was photography, right? So if I ask you, if is it possible to study masters of engineering 4 years in India and directly study something related to photography in India? If you agree with me, type yes, and if you don't agree with me, please type no. In India, it is possible, correct? But then this, whatever I'm talking about something which was before 3 or 4 years. That was the time where it was very difficult for a person to switch careers or to switch trades in India, right? She wanted to have a full-time education or she wanted to study photography. We did her, like I was the one who counseled her, and I found out that she had been a photographer. By the age of 24, she had been a photographer for 8 years. That means she started photography at the age of 16. So by the age of 24, she was completely engrossed in photography and she wanted to make a career out of it, right? The best part that happened is we approached a couple of universities in the UK and we shared her portfolio to the universities, and they were happy to offer her masters in photography, or rather masters in fashion photography. And the best part was she had got a £2,000 scholarship, right? £2,000 scholarship with the course. So it is a possibility when you are studying overseas. If you want to switch careers, you just need to have the zeal. You just need to provide a proper justification why you want to switch career. You just need to provide some relevant proof that you are interested in this particular field. I have seen doctors who turn, like person who have studied, who has taken the doctorate degree and then turned to full-time filmmaking. I have seen engineers taking a profession of photography and graphic designing. I've seen people from the commerce background wanted to pursue the full-time career into sports. So these are the possibilities that helps us to break the stereotype, right? These are a couple of statistics that I wanted to share with you guys and wanted to help you understand how big is the overseas education space. So let's look at the numbers. In 2016, 371,000 students approximately went to, from India went abroad for the higher education purposes. Now these numbers are in accordance. The source is the Ministry of External Affairs India, and these numbers are just the numbers where the ministry issued new passports, right? Jinjino ke paas, the people who had passports, the numbers are not mentioned here. I'm just talking about people who had been issued new passports and were going to the overseas education space or the overseas education. I request you guys to not fiddle with the screen because it'll have a disturbance. Correct. Thank you so much. So in 2017, there were 456,000 students, 456,000 passports issued from the Indian government. In 2018, the number went high to 520,000. In 2019, the number went high to 588,000. 2020, during the COVID, there were still 261,000 people who actually went abroad for the higher education purpose. 2020 till Feb 2021, there were 71,000 students. The number, yes, came down, but then throughout the lockdown, there were still so many students who had or who got the opportunity to study further in the overseas education space. What are the qualifying tests that most of us need to go through? English proficiency test, you have IELTS, TOEFL, and PT, depending on the country that you select. depending on the course that you're selecting and depending on the requirement of that particular university or your particular college. These scores are mandatory requirement for a person who is not coming from an English speaking background. So we belong to India. We are Indians, and as Indians, our first language is not English. So it is a compulsion for us to attend or for us to have IELTS, TOEFL, or PTE scores depending on the requirement. For people who are studying, who wish to study in USA and Germany, and GRE, SAT, and GMAT. GRE and SAT are examinations. I am sure most of you would know. GRE is for somebody who wants to pursue masters in the USA, and SAT is exam for people who wishes to study bachelor's after the 12th in India, bachelor's in the USA. GMAT is the examination that one needs to appear if you want to study management in the overseas education space, and if you really want to get into a good university. Mimi asks, how would you know the process of choosing a subject? Mimi, for you to know the process of choosing a subject, you need to understand. Junisha says GRE is for masters. Perfect. GRE is for masters. For Mimi, you need to sit down with a counselor and have a conversation with that counselor, and that counselor would help you decide the subject that you can study further in your higher education. Correct? If Mimi, you're satisfied with the answer, please type yes. And Junisha, if you're satisfied with the answer, please type yes in the chat box. Okay, so what is this? Hot courses and country specific courses. So these are the list of courses. These are just not only the courses that you have an option as to whenever you want to select a particular country. So if you wanted to select USA, this list is made. This list, Kanishka, I will get back to you on that question. Just let me finish this slide. So this list is made on keeping in mind the priority or keeping in mind the courses that are mostly famous in these countries and why people go to these countries, and keeping that in mind, this list is made. So if you're looking forward to study in USA people prefer to go whenever they want to pursue their higher education in engineering, in health science, and creative arts. When it comes to UK, you have management, liberal studies, creative arts, engineering, health science. Canada, you have engineering, health science. You also have other courses in terms of filmmaking and creative, into the creative arts direction. For Germany is again famous for technical studies, and people generally do prefer to go to Germany to pursue either mechanical, into the engineering space, or also Germany is also famous for the management sector. Australia, engineering, hospitality, management, and agriculture. More than this, Australia is famous for its commerce-based courses. And when it comes to New Zealand, New Zealand is not a technical country. So hospitality industry is the best when it comes to New Zealand, and then comes the agriculture part. I have a couple of questions. Kanishka says, what is good, IELTS or TOEFL if we want to give an exam for home? IELTS and TOEFL is almost the same. There's not much difference. It depends on what you are comfortable with. But then rather than that, you need to check wherever you want to apply, whether IELTS or TOEFL, which exam is valid, right? And Amit says, how I enrolled in GRE or TOEFL? Amit, depending on the city you are in, you can reach out to the best or the best education provider in terms of GRE coaching in your locality, and then you can get your course, or you can pursue the GRE course with that particular academy. Junisha says, does psychology come in health science? Yes, it does, but it is again a part of health science depending on which college. Because if I look at the college, if I look at the college and the universities in the drop down list, whatever courses they are offering, sometimes it is under the health science section, sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is just a separate separate course that the university provides. In which month these examinations are held? Amit, TOEFL, IELTS is held at least 4 times, 2 or 4 times in a month. GRE is held 3 to 6 times, 3 or 4 times in 6 months. So you need to check the dates on the website of these bodies. That will give you proper information as to when is the next examination date. Mimi, I do see a lot of questions. USA is good. Harshita says, sir, is USA good computer science engineering? Yes, if you want to study computer science engineering, USA is the first preference for most students, right? I do have a lot of questions, but then I will not take all the questions because I need to provide complete information on these on the topics that I have decided, that I have planned. That was basic, but then don't worry, you will have the opportunity to get in touch with me one-to-one post this session, and then I would be able to clarify all your doubts, whatever questions you have, right? If it's okay, please type yes on the chat box, and once you type yes, I would go ahead with the upcoming topics. Yes, great. Thank you so much, people. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys are a lovely audience. Okay, so what are the popular destinations? So I have selected 4 destinations basically to discuss in this presentation, and the 4 destinations would be USA, Canada, UK, and Australia. These 4 destinations are the destinations which are again hot destinations for most students to study abroad, and this information is definitely going to give you a confidence. They give you confidence and give you a good hope that yes, every individual has an opportunity to make your career into any country that you're traveling abroad, right? So the first destination that I wanted to discuss is USA. Okay, so how many of you guys, I did ask this question before, I'm asking the same question again. How many of you guys are looking forward to study in USA? And if you have completed your bachelor's, type B. If you have completed your 12th, type 1 to 12. So people who have completed your bachelor's, type B, and people who have completed your 12th, type 12, because that will give me an information, that will give me an idea as to what you're going to study forward. Either you're going for master's or you're going for bachelor's. Still in second year? Kanishka is in 12th. Okay. Chirag, you're saying yes. I am still not able to get exactly. You're in 3rd semester. That means you want to go for master's. Vishal says we'll complete bachelor and go for master's. Mimi says she's doing a graduation in BBA and hospital management. Okay. Anushka says that she's a 2nd year law student. 5th semester, 2nd semester, 5th semester will be bachelor's completed. So majority of you guys, what I understand is that you are looking forward to majority of you guys are looking forward to study your master's in USA, great, or any other country. So here are a couple of points. Please make a note of them. Sir, मुझे PhD करना है USA से. Okay, Anu, you want to pursue your PhD? That's amazing. That's an amazing decision. PhD is the process. The process for PhD is a little different from how the generic education process is. So for me to be able to give you a complete information on that, we need to connect one-to-one, right? Manju Priya says that she is an undergraduate 2nd year BCom student. Junisha says that you want to do clinical psychology. Amazing. That's amazing. So yes, USA is definitely a land of opportunities. Definitely a land of opportunities. Why? Guys, USA has 4,000 plus universities. It's a huge land. Huge. Mimi says you want to earn in Germany. Okay, Mimi, that's great. So USA has 4,000 plus universities, and with that universities, USA also provides colleges. Now the catch is that if you really want to study abroad, or if you really want to study in USA, the process is a little different, because generally if you apply to colleges in USA, you would definitely get an admission, but for you to get a visa, it would be a challenging task, because USA is one country where I'm sure you would know that you have one-to-one session with the visa officer who decides whether to give you a visa for USA or not, right? And when you are planning to study USA and when you are in front of the visa officer and when he asks you which university or which education provider you're going to study, and if you mention the name of a college, that may create a negative impression. It's not wrong, but may create a negative impression, with the particular visa officer, and he might reject. I have seen cases wherein visas do get rejected with the best of GRE scores and with the best of education, and I have seen cases wherein the visas are approved with mediocre or minimal education as well. So it totally depends on how you perform in front of the visa officer. Rishabh says, which is better, college or university, depending on if you wanted to study in USA, I would say definitely go for university, go for a university than college. Please do prefer a university. So you have 500 plus course options that you can select. USA has the most upgraded leading economy in the world. All of us know that. The curriculum is practical oriented. Now, the best part of USA is, I'll just give an example as to how it happens in USA. So if you have completed your bachelor's and you're going for master's, the fees that you pay is not according to the semester, but according to the units that you are opting to study. Now, for example, most universities in USA, they do have this option there wherein you have to compulsorily take 4 or 5 units in the first semester. That is a compulsion, minimum. But then once you are done with the first year of your studies, and if you feel that you need to take a break for 6 months and then continue your studies after 6 months, you do have an option. You can take a break for 6 months, then go forward with your studies after 6 months. But then the only thing you need to keep in mind is that you need to have a proper justification as to why you want that 6 months break, right? That's first thing. Second thing is, most of the education providers, as we know, that the theoretical part of the studies is 20 to 30%, and 70% is dedicated to the practical exposure. And that creates a positive thing for the students, wherein students are exposed in real as to what they have studied in the classroom and how do they imply the same studies in the real life scenarios. USA is famous for IT, engineering, life sciences, and management. Yes, if you're looking forward to study anything into the engineering space, as I mentioned earlier, you need to have a GRE score. GRE score, just not to have a GRE score, but a good GRE score, because that GRE score will decide what kind of universities you can put in your applications to. If you're talking about a GRE score, an average GRE score, if you have between 300 to 315, you have an opportunity to apply for a course into good universities, right? If you are looking forward to study management in USA after your graduation here, one thing you need to keep in mind is that USA accepts 12 plus 4. That means if you have studied until 12th, you need to have a 4 years graduation degree. That will only make you eligible to apply for your master's in the USA, right? For people, for example, generally in India, if you're studying BBA, it is generally for 3 years. So it is advised that you study BBA for 3 years. You work for 1 or 2 years in India. That will help you, cover the 1 or 2 years that is needed in terms of 12 plus 4, and then appear for a GMAT exam, get a good GMAT score, and then apply for MBA in USA, right? That this would be a better course. This would be a better direction. GRE, GMAT scores and TOEFL IELTS are required for admissions. Students do come and say that, sir, we do get admission in USA without a GRE or GMAT score. Please understand, 4,000 plus universities will give you an admission. There are universities will give you an admission without a GRE or GMAT score, without a TOEFL or IELTS score, but only getting an admission is not enough. Main purpose is to get a visa, a valid study visa, to be able to study in that particular country. Keeping the visa requirements in mind, do appear for GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, or IELTS, whatever is suitable, whatever you're going for to study. Junisha says means we need to work after graduation for 3 years. Junisha, depending on the country that you want to select, you will have the clarity. You'll have more clarity on this question as I go forward. So hold on to that. Right. The best part, the minimum wage that a student on a student visa in USA, you have the opportunity to work up to 20 hours per week. That is 4 hours a day as a part-timer. And the minimum wage that you can expect while working into the in USA would be $13 to $15 per hour. That is minimum. Again, depending on what kind of a job you have landed yourself into, you will decide as to what is your wage per hour. As I said, 20 hours per week on a student visa, you have the opportunity to work. Kanishka says you want to do your MBA from South Korea. Kanishka, I would say we would get in touch or let us connect one-to-one on this South Korea thing, because South Korea is not something I'm covering in this session. But yes, I would say you do have options to study MBA from South Korea. So let us connect one-to-one post this session, right? If it's okay, please type yes in the chat box. USA also provides you opportunities in terms of you have the opportunities to work in the campus after or during your studies, right? This is something which is very unique, wherein USA provides. If you are a performer, one thing you need to keep in mind is whenever you are planning to study in any education provider in US or in any other country, one thing you need to take care of basic is please look forward in building good rapport with your professors, because your professors are the people who will actually help you link to industries. The best part is, unlike what happens in our country, professors in these countries, in these universities, they are industry experts themselves, right? And that is the best part, and why is the reason that it is mentioned that you get practical exposure even while you are in the classroom, because these professors do have good connection. They involve a lot of time, they involve themselves into the industries wherever they come from, right? So we have, as a student, we have the opportunity to get that exposure. Okay, so the next country that I would want to talk about is Canada. Okay, I have a question for you guys. How many of you guys are planning to study in Canada? If yes, type C in the chat box. People who are planning to study in Canada, type C in the chat box. Azmat says C, secondary option. Great. Mimi, you said professors are industry experts. What I meant is that most of the professors who are teaching you into the university, most of them have direct connections into the industry they are specialized into. That means they have direct connects. They have an exposure themselves into the industry. For example, if you are studying your mechanical engineering and you are studying particular topic, any topic, and the professor who is taking your topic, taking that particular lecture, will have, or most of the time they do have a direct exposure. That means they have themselves worked into that space. Bachelor's of Science in Psychology in Canada, I will come to that, Asta. That particular question, I will come to it. Okay, so people who are planning to study in Canada, I have a question. It is just to understand. Do you know what is the capital of Canada? What is the capital of Canada? Canada, Texas is in USA, Azmat. Asta, correct. 100% correct. So when I ask this question to most of the people, they say Toronto is the capital. Toronto is not the capital. Ottawa is the capital for Canada, right? Canada is the most livable country in the world. You know why? What is the reason? And majority, like if I have counseled say 100 people, 100 students, majority of students, they mention that they want to go to Canada, at least 90% of them. You know why? And Canada do have openings. So approximately 8 to 10 lakh students do go to Canada every year to study or to pursue their career in different fields in the country, right? Because there's a lot of knowledge and skills to learn, skills to earn. Absolutely perfect. Mimi, that's perfect. So the best part is Canada is huge in terms of land space, and most of the northern territory of Canada is still not so populated, because the land is huge, and there is the population of Canada. If you compare, if you calculate the land size of India, Canada is at least 4 times bigger than Canada, right? But the shocking part is that in spite of being that huge country, the population is less. The entire population of the entire country is even less than the population in one state in India, right? So the land is huge. The Canadian government is expanding the industries leaps and bound. So there's a huge opportunity for every student who's actually trying to go to study in Canada. So you have 90 plus public funded universities and 120 plus colleges that you can apply to in Canada, right? So whenever you are looking forward to apply for Canada, IELTS or any English proficiency test is the basic requirement, right? For best universities, GRE or GMAT score is not a mandatory requirement, but students need to understand this, that if you are planning to apply to the top universities, the competition is very high. And whoever is applying or planning to apply to the top universities, also keep in mind that these students are, have good grades, they have exceptional performance, they have done exceptionally well in their careers during their graduation or during their school life. And whenever they're applying to the best universities. So the thing is, GRE GMAT is not a compulsion, but it becomes the factor wherein the competition is high. So, but communication skills in English is really needed to study abroad. Exactly. Communication skills, if you have a good communication skill, if you are very good with communication, you will have good opportunities in terms of building a rapport with the people that you get in touch with, right? So, Canada is generally famous for diploma and PG diploma courses. Diploma and PG diploma courses are generally 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. And getting an admission into diploma and PG diploma courses, it becomes easy. You have a question? We will have a separate 5 or 7 minutes for all the questions. So keep your questions. Please make a note of that question so that you don't forget to ask by the end of the session. Right? IELTS is important. IELTS is important and essential, because IELTS is what? It is something and essential. I'm going to cover that point. Why is IELTS important? If you're planning to apply in Canada, SDS. How many of you guys know what SDS is? If you know what SDS is, type yes in the chat box. Don't know? Okay. This question is especially for people who are planning to study in Canada. No. Okay. Okay. So SDS is The full form of SDS is Student Direct Stream, SDS, Student Direct Stream. SDS was, this clause was developed, and this was in favor of the Indian students. Why was this SDS stream formed? It was an opportunity. It is an opportunity. It is a tie-up between the Canadian and the Indian government, wherein the governments provide an opportunity to Indian students as to if you have correct average student can also study in Canada. So you have to fulfill basic requirement for you to study abroad. One requirement would be GIC. GIC is Guaranteed Income Certificate. Basically, it is a deposit that the Canadian government requests or asks you to deposit $10,000, which is approximately 5.5 to 6 lakh rupees, which is again usable once you are into the country. So this deposit is as a secure deposit, which actually shows that if you are applying to study abroad, you have the capacity or capability of taking care of your generic day-to-day expenditure. So you need to deposit $10,000, which is again usable once you are into the country. And then the second requirement is keeping in mind the English proficiency. Student need to have a minimum of 6 in each module of IELTS: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Somebody asked me the question, is IELTS important? Yes, it is important, because if you have an each 6 band in IELTS, you automatically fall under the SDS category. If you don't fall under the SDS category, the documentation for the study or for you to be able to get the admission, into that particular country becomes difficult. So you need to have at least 55 to 60% in your 12th or bachelor's. You need to have a GIC deposit done, and you have 6 each minimum into the 4 modules of IELTS. You are automatically eligible to apply into the SDS stream, right? Whenever you're filing for your visa. Industry-oriented programs you do get, depending on whatever industry you're into. Somebody asked me that, you want to study Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. Yes, you do have a lot of options when it comes to studying psychology in Canada. So you have multiple. If you're not able to get admission into Masters and you really wanted to go to abroad, you really wanted to go study in Canada, you have an option. You can take a diploma or PG diploma course and then go ahead and then study further. Why is it famous? It is famous for IT, engineering, pharmacy, health science, etc. You do have a lot of courses, into these sectors. These are just not, I've picked up IT, engineering, pharmacy, and health science because these are hot courses why people want to study in Canada. And what is the reason? Masters in VLSI, Ayush, you need to check out. This is Masters in VLSI. What I understand is a specialization, and you need to check out with the universities that do provide this particular specialization or not, right? Okay, minimum of 2 years of study. Once you study minimum of 2 years in Canada, you have the option to apply for a 3 years work permit, wherein you can work full time, right? And then once you have a 2+3, that means once you have completed your 2 years of study and 3 years of work permit, you become eligible to apply for PR. That is your eligibility. Asmat says IT in Canada or USA, both are good depending on which university you're going into or which course you're going into. It does not depend on the country, it depends on the course and the university you're applying for. Great part-time working opportunities, yes, because I do know a lot of students. I'm in touch with a lot of students who do well with the education, because the best part is that the education system is very, 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 it's convenient. You might have classes in the day, you might have classes in the evening, It's not fixed. It is unlike what we have generally seen from our childhood in our country, right? It totally depends on the availability. So the entire month schedule is fixed and it's pre-planned as to when you have your classes, so that this opportunity is given to the students so that they can manage their time well in terms of their tasks that they are giving, their homework that they've been given, and if most of the students do work part time so that they are able to support their education. Azmat says CS. Again, I'm saying Azmat does not depend on the country. It depends on which college and which university you're going into. You will find good colleges and universities in USA that gives you better education in terms of computer science. You do have good universities in Canada as well. And you are eligible to work 20 hours per week whenever you are planning to study in Canada. Third country that I would want to discuss about is the United Kingdom or the UK. One of the hottest destinations right now in this period, where people want to study in, people are looking forward to study in the UK, right? Um, it is an ancient destination, and UK is one of the best destinations if you are looking forward to pursue your masters or bachelors into the management space. What I generally talk to people about is that uh, if somebody can teach you management well, we need to learn it from the Britishers. And this is just not why I'm saying it, but our history says it. Britishers were the people who have managed or ruled over most majority of the countries in the entire world for a very long time. So they are best when it comes to management, right? So why and what are the benefits? You have 140 plus universities offering diverse programs. I told you about a story about one of the students who wanted to study photography after completing bachelor's in mechanical engineering in India. She was placed in one of the best universities in UK and switched to photography from mechanical engineering, so that you have diverse programs if you really want to study in the UK. You have top ranked traditional modern universities. You talk about London School of Economics, you talk about Stanford University, you talk about Harvard University. Most of the universities, top universities, you talk about Glasgow University, you talk about Warwick University. Most of the universities, best universities, you have in the UK, and you do have the option to study in these universities. But again, it totally depends on how what kind of exposure you have in your current education. UK does provide quality education, that is for sure. The best part is that you can complete your master's in 1 year. Unlike other countries, people have the opportunity to complete your master's in 1 year. So it goes like this. Most of the universities offer masters that is of 1 year. And in that 1 year, the curriculum is like this. That's first 6 months you study, the next 6 months you have a practical exposure. That means you are allowed to work, and then again the next 6 years 6 months you have the option to study. So the entire master's is of 1 to 1.5 years with the 6 months period of working full time. Then apart from that, Canada do provide a 2 years work permit, okay, after you complete your masters. This is something which has come up very new. It was not there 2 or 3 years back. Right now, people are there, and universities are there, courses are there that you can apply for your work permit for up to 2 years after completing your masters. Why is UK famous? UK is famous for management studies, engineering, pharmacy, health science, lifestyle courses. What I mean by lifestyle courses is photography, animation, designing, modeling. Then you have you have pottery, you have metallurgy, multiple courses and beautiful courses that you can find out in the UK. UK do provide these courses into a very broad space. It's the same 20 hours per week. You have the opportunity to work as a student on a student visa, and the minimum wage is 8 to 10 pounds per hour, right? The fourth country that I would want to cover Sanya, you have a question. I understand. I'm just about to end towards the end of this, to this presentation. And once I'm done covering all the topics, we do have 15 minutes, 20 minutes in terms of when we'll discuss about, we'll take up a couple of questions, right? If you're okay, please type yes. The fourth country that I wanted to discuss and I wanted to give you information about is Australia. Yes, I have been like has been an opportunity for me wherein I've worked a lot with the overseas with the Australian service providers, with the Australian Australian agents in terms of people who provide onshore and offshore services in Australia and out of Australia. And I do meet a lot of students who have who want to study in Australia. So it is definitely, yes, a dream destination for most students. And once I discuss these points, why it is a dream destination for students, you will understand as to what is the reason why people prefer to go to Australia to study further. Australia has 43 universities offering diverse programs. Diverse as in diverse programs. Once you have a look at the list of programs that the universities offer, you will understand as to where you can place yourself. G8. G8 is what? Group 8. Top universities of Australia, they have formed a group. Again, that group is called G8. And these universities, getting an admission into these universities is a little challenging, but it is not impossible. Yes, you do need good grades, you do need good background in terms of getting admission to these universities, because the competition to get into these universities is very high, right? One of the best part why people want to study in Australia is quality education and lifestyle. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends, a lot of students who have, made a career, best careers. They have made out of some best things that they've done with themselves, and the lifestyle that I've seen, them living is just amazing when it comes to Australia. 2 years work permit is something you will be eligible to post completion of your studies. For example, if you're going for a 3 years bachelor's degree, after 3 years you have the option to apply for a 2 years work permit. And if you're going for a 2 years master's degree, you do have the option to apply for a 2 years work permit. These 2 years work permit would be, it is a suggestion that whatever you are studying, for example, if you're going for a computer science, if you're going for accountancy, if you're going to study MPA, that is Masters in Professional Accounting, and you've done your 2 years in Masters in MPA, it is suggested that the 2 years work permit that you get, please do work into your own sector. You do get options to work into a different sector, but then the issue will raise that you need whenever you wish to apply for a visa extension, whenever you want to apply for a PR, you do need to have a proper justification as to why you switched from what you studied and from what you worked on, right? So unless you have a proper justification, it becomes difficult for the visas to be extended. I do get a lot of cases wherein people do go to Australia or do go to a country to study a particular course, but then for some XYZ reason, they are not able to complete the courses, or they are not able to get a job relevant to the courses that they've completed. And then the problem is that they do face a lot of challenges when it comes to extending your visa, or when it comes to applying for a PR after your studies. Why is Australia famous for? It is famous for accounting, IT, engineering, biotech, and mining courses, right? Mostly it is famous for accounting courses. The IT industry in Australia is on a lower scale when compared to USA, Canada, UK, and Germany. But then you do have companies, but the most preferred why people go to Australia, and the most preferred is accounting, engineering, and the biotechnology technological part. Aerospace engineering in Australia, you do have a very, very, very limited space, Runal. There are very, very, very few universities do apply, do give you the opportunity to learn aerospace engineering. You do have the option to work again 20 hours per week whenever you're planning to study in Australia. And the best part, the minimum wage in Australia is approximately 20 to $22 per hour. And that is the reason, my friends, that is the reason, people, why studying in Australia provides you the highest return of investment, right? I do know students, I do know students, I would not take their names, but I do know students who have done exceptionally well. They have managed their studies properly, they have managed their work properly, and then in a very good amount of time, they've also supported their own education and their family, they who are staying in India. So, and these are the points why the point, as in where I mentioned about the highest ROI. This is the reason why students wish to study in Australia, and that is the reason why it is one of the biggest dream destinations for most of the students. Okay. This is something very essential. I would request each and every one of you to take a screenshot of this, because this will help you plan your study in whichever country you are planning to study into, right? So these are the start dates and application deadlines. Whenever you're planning to study further, if you're planning to study in USA, you have two intakes majorly, September and January. For example, right now we're into the September month, and if you wish to apply, if you wish to study forward in USA in September 2022, you need to start your applications latest by December or Jan in December 2020 or Jan 2021. That is the latest. There are top universities that they start taking applications 1 year prior. So there are universities in USA who have already started accepting applications for the next year intake. And if you are planning to study in the January intake, you need to plan it well, because January is not a major intake; it is a minor, it is a secondary major intake, and you need to apply. You need to plan at least 6 to 8 months prior. When it comes to Canada, if you're planning to, there are 3 intakes again: September, January, and May. Major intake is September. September is the major intake. January is the secondary major intake, and May, again, if there are seats vacant, they do have a lot of applications, but not much when it comes to September. If you're planning to apply for September intake, your applications need to go by Jan or by Feb the same year. For example, if you're planning to study in September 2022, your applications do need to go by Jan 2022 or Feb 2022 at the latest, right? Similarly, if you want to study if you want to go ahead for a course in January, August, September is the best month that you can. So right now, if you're planning to go to Canada to study in Jan 2022, right now is the best time to go ahead with the application process. And if you're planning to go in the next month, next year, May, September, October is the best month wherein you can go ahead. Sania says for January intake in Canada, can I apply? Yes, you do. You need to check out what courses you do have the option to apply, provided that the course that you're applying to, you have vacant seats or not, right? Because there is no compulsion. Because if there is a university and the particular course is demanded course, once the applications are open, 2 or 3 days or maximum 1 week, the applications are closed because of the demand of the course. If you plan to study in the UK, September and January, these are the 2 major intakes. There are very few courses that gives you admission for May intake. If you're planning for the September month, you need to apply at least by January. And if you're planning for the January month, you need to apply at least by August, September. When it comes to Australia, it's a little different. November, February, and July, these 3 are the major intakes. And if you're planning to apply for November intake, you need to go, your applications, you need to go by March, Feb or March, the previous Feb or March. If it's for February, you need to go need to go by August. For example, if you want to apply for Feb 2022, right now is the best time to go ahead with your application process for Australia. And when it comes to July, November is the month that you need to go ahead with your application process. Request you guys to take a screenshot of this particular screen. If you have taken the screenshot, type yes in the chat box so that I can go ahead with the next part. Great, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Rishabh, we will take that question into the question answer session. What should you look for in your education consultant or education consultancy provider? Guys, I know like there are students who do not need any help in terms of visa processing, in terms of admissions and stuff. But then I would say, do take the advice and support or help from the nearest education consultancy provider, because these are the people who have spent a lot of time into the overseas education space, and they know the nitty-gritty of everything into the whatever happens in the overseas education space. So what are the points that you need to look for whenever you want to select your education service education consultancy provider? The first thing that you need to look is Vidhi Gajar, you've sent me direct message. We will take that question into the question answer session, right? A good portfolio of universities and colleges in your preferred study destination. For example, Khushbu, you raised your hand. If you have a question, please, I request you to please make a note of that question. We will take that question into the question answer session. I'm almost towards an end of whatever information I have to deliver. A good portfolio that particular consultancy needs to have, so that that creates a confirmation, that creates that gives you an information. It gives you a confidence that this particular consultancy is somebody who has good amount of experience into the overseas education space. Second thing that you need to take care of is that particular consultancy does need to have a streamlined system to carry out the application and visa process. Now, guys need to understand is that the application and the visa process is just not a one or 2 months process. This is a lengthy process, and you also need to take care of, or you also need to be very prompt in terms of communication, because you need to be in touch with your consultancy provider on a regular basis, and you need to keep checking the process, because it so happens that once the applications are processed, once the application is done, the universities do take a lot of time in terms of reviewing those applications, and then in terms of giving a final judgment on the applications. The application system in most of the countries is way different, because for one particular course, if there are only 60 seats available, in front of the 60 seats, most universities and colleges, depending on the course, they do get 500 and 600 applications. Now, what happens is when there are so many applications, all these applications are reviewed by a reviewing committee. And if the reviewing committee decides that the application is authentic, the application is genuine, and this person can be given a chance, it is again, they are shortlisted, it goes to the admissions officer, and then the admissions officer issues an offer letter to these students. And once the offer letters are issued, there's a requirement. Most offer letters issued, they ask you for a payment, either a small amount of payment, either a 1 semester payment, either a 1 year payment. And once this payment is done, the process continues. Now, this process is a lengthy process. It does not happen overnight, right? So you need to find out an education consultancy provider that is in touch with you and gives you regular updates in terms of whenever you have a question. The third point is complete transparency and assistance during the process and after visa service. Now, I have seen there are many consultancies in the overseas education space wherein the transparency is not maintained, right? What do I mean by transparency? There are many education service provider that work towards the only objective is that they need a student, and that student needs to be placed in any university or any college wherever they wish to go or whichever country they wish to go. But do decide you for you to decide as to which consultancy you want to go with. See whether your checkpoints are being taken care of or not, right? Whether what you want you are being provided or not. That is something which you need to take care of, because assistance, because once you decide, that person or that consultancy is going to be with you for at least for the next 1 year, right? So that confidence you need to have whenever you want to select. And after visa service is a must, because just getting a visa is not enough. Most consultancies these days, in order to provide a better service, they do provide you service in terms of they provide you a checklist wherein you need to what things you need to take care of whenever you want to travel abroad. They also arrange your pickup and drop facilities into the country that you're going to. They also help you arrange an accommodation into the country that you're going to, right? Fourth point, easy communication process. The communication has to be very easy. Please make sure, please do read or take reviews from people who have worked or who have done their application process from a consultancy, because communication, if it's not taken care of, it's very difficult to go ahead. The fifth and the most major point is quick turnaround time and quality output. It so happens that students do apply, or students do give the information that I want to apply to this particular course, but then there are consultancies that take a lot of time and they do not provide you proper information in time. So do take care of that, because that is something which will again create a positive feeling for you if you really want to go ahead with the consultancy provider, right? Okay, now I am at the end of my presentation and the end of the information. The last question that I want to put in your subconscious and conscious mind is, what is your actual reason to study abroad? Why do you want to study abroad? Think about it. Because studying abroad, I'm sure you must be knowing that it is not a simple game. It is a challenging task. It looks easy and lucrative, but it is not as easy and lucrative as it seems to be, right? So now we have opened the platform, and I would take, for the next 10 minutes, we will take a couple of questions. And then if you guys have questions, I would request that unmute yourself one by one, turn on your camera, and please ask that you want to ask. Mimi, please turn on your camera and unmute yourself, and then you can ask the question that you want to ask. Mimi, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
So am I audible, sir? Can you listen my voice?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
So actually, so I'm doing hospital management. I'm in second year. I'm doing BBA in hospital management. Then I will pursue MBA. After completing my BBA plus MBA, then I want to study abroad. Then I want to earn from there, because by earning in foreign countries, we will gain a lot of experience and we will get a lot of new opportunities to work and experience with the healthcare, and we will get a very beneficial salary of our own, that we are incoming and we are getting everything.
Okay. So let me just understand your question. You mean to say that you are currently pursuing your BBA, and then you're going to do your MBA, and then you want to go abroad just to earn, just for the earning sake, correct?
Yes, sir, to earn and to study. While again I will study, then I will earn.
Okay, so So if for you to go to any other country to study, you need to select as to what you want to study. That is one thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Is something which will come by natural. Earning is any country you go to, if you have the capacity, you can earn, and there's no question about it. But then what course you are selecting is something which you need to take care of, which is something which you need to think about.
Sir, I have a one question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, like I'm not in the topper, or I am really an average student. If
Okay.
sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
So, like in BBA, I have got the 60%. Again, in MBA, I got an average marks. So, for that, also, I can pursue any courses, or I can go for a job in abroad also, so just to
Yes.
earn.
See, as far as you have 55 to 60% and you have a good IELTS score, you can apply for any colleges.
So, what is the meaning of IELTS score you said just now?
Okay, IELTS is basically an English proficiency test wherein you need to right. There are
Yes,
four:
sir.
listening, reading, writing, and speaking. You
Yes, sir.
appear for this IELTS.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I am able.
Okay, so IELTS is again a proficiency test. You need to have at least 6 bands in each of these 4 modules out of 9 bands. Until unless you have 6 bands in each, for you to become eligible to a particular country will become difficult because again we are in India. India is not an English-speaking country.
No, sir.
English is a second language, and that is
Yes, sir.
else is a mandatory requirement for any country, or for if you are going to any English-speaking country.
So actually, I don't think so, sir, because some of my brothers are working in the foreign countries. He's a corporate lawyer of the UK at London.
How
And
long
one-
have been? How long they?
Sir,
Since how long they?
Sir, they have been since for 6 to 7 years, and they are both corporate lawyers. And again, my one brother is staying in USA. He is a director of the company.
Okay, scenario that time was different. Scenario right
Yes.
different, right?
Okay, sir.
People 6, 7 years, 10 years before they went to abroad, they went abroad, even if they had 4.5 or 5 bands in IELTS.
No, sir, they have been studied and then they started earning.
That's what. So anybody, the easiest way to go to any other country is to go on a student visa. That is the easiest and the quickest.
Sir, and I want to say one thing, sir.
Yes, please.
So, like, if I completed all my graduation MBA from India, if I want to earn in foreign, like in healthcare experts, in the healthcare professionals, so are you getting my point, sir?
Yes. Health.
Like care
I understand your
management,
point.
I'm below. Yes, sir.
Yes, healthcare industry is a
Yes, sir.
in all the countries abroad.
So can I get like while working there, can I get the minimum salary like lakhs to dollar? Also, I can earn in foreign abroad, sir.
Yes, you can. There's a possibility.
Like completing all my graduation, MBA, BBA from India, then I can go and earn to foreign, sir. That's the main
You
question.
cannot go directly to earn. You need to go on a student visa, study, and then with that study.
So from India, first we have to experience, then we have to prove it that whether we can work or not.
If you want to go to any country, you just cannot go directly on a.
No. Yes, sir.
Easiest way to go to any other country, easiest and the quickest way is to go on a student visa. When you are on a student visa to any other country, with studies, you have the option to work for 20 hours per week. That means
20 hours.
20
so
hours
like
per
a
week.
Part-time job, sir.
It is a part-time job. Absolutely. Because if you are on a student visa holders are not eligible to work full-time.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Anybody else? If you have a question, please raise your hand and then you can unmute yourself, turn on your camera, and you can go ahead. Kanishka Nalol, yes, please unmute yourself and go ahead, Kanishka.
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Actually, I want to study MBA in South Korea. but I don't know the much fields. Means there are finance, marketing, management, and also other departments. But what would be the best for me? And also, as I'm having little interest in music, so I want to do my job in some music industries. So what will be best for me to study in MBA? That's my question.
What have you done in your bachelor's? BBA,
BCom.
BCom.
I'm second year.
You're in your second year BCom. Okay. And what are your area of interest?
My area of interest means I'm good at accounting, finance. So, and for in industry or for a company with which I prefer to work in is something music industry. A company which is entertainment industry and something means there are departments of finance to work on.
Correct. So now the thing is, you are from a BCom background. Your area of interest is you are expert in accounts, but then again your area of interest is music. So you see there's a clash. Accounts and music, there's a clash. You need to decide as to where and how you want to pursue your career. Okay. For example, if you want to switch from accounts to music, yes, it is possible, provided you need to keep this condition in your mind, provided you have good amount of either exposure in music, or you have good amount of projects you have done in music apart from whatever you've done. So just to give you an example, I knew somebody from India. I'm from Ahmedabad, so I knew somebody from Ahmedabad. That person was again a BCom graduate, but he wanted to pursue his career in music. Okay, so for us to be able to guide him further, what he was also good into making music videos. He has made a couple of music videos of himself. Okay, and these videos are again live. He has made a couple of recordings, studio recordings for himself. So when you do such things, these things helps you create a portfolio, and that portfolio will help the visa or the admission officer to get that confidence as to why you want to switch your career from one to other. That means the entire crux is you need to show proper justification as why you want to switch your career. If you can show the proper justification, you can go ahead. Music, you have good options in Canada, you have good options in UK, both.
And as for music, I'm not actually into music because I don't know how to play any other thing like instruments, anything. But actually, it's just I like to listen to music. So if I work in something industry, so that I'm close to music, not actually working for music, but I'm little close to music. But I just want to do MBA
No,
in finance.
Kanishka, your voice is breaking.
And also in South Korea. That's my main focus actually.
Kanishka, your voice is breaking. I just couldn't get the last part. Your voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear you. Okay, there's a network congestion from Kanishka. Once she's back, we'll talk to her again. Vishal Aditya, you have raised your hand. Mimi, I understand you have a lot of questions. I need to take questions from other people as well. If you have a lot of questions, we definitely can connect one-to-one. For all of you guys, whoever on this session, you can get in touch with them. That person will help you connect with me, and then we can have a discussion. The other questions that you have. Vishal, you have a question. You have raised your hand.
Yes, sir. I have one question, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I'm pursuing right now Bachelor of Social Work, BSW.
Sorry?
Bachelor of Social Work, sir. I'm studying.
Okay.
Sir, I have not much aware about social work related courses, sir.
Okay.
I mean, which country is best for social work related courses, sir?
So you want to know more about social work related courses as to which country you can go to, correct?
Yes, sir, exactly, sir. Like MSW, like that.
Okay. Okay. Social work, Vishal, this is for you and for the others as well if you had the same question. Social work related courses, PG and UG courses are lot many courses are available in Canada and UK. Okay. These two other countries that will give you a lot of options in terms of pursuing your career in social work. That what I mean is it is easy and convenient to get an admission into diploma in social work, diploma in childcare, diploma in XYZ, right? So Canada and UK is something that you can go ahead with, Vishal.
Okay, sir. I have another question, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, what about Malaysia and Singapore, sir? Is that much better when compared to Canada and UK?
You depending on what course you are going forward to.
Sir, MSW, sir.
In social work only?
Yes, sir. MSW, masters.
Masters in social work. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Again, it depends on which university you are going into. See, again, for you, all of you people, which country you are going to does make a difference. But more than that, what makes a difference is which university or education provider you're going to. Okay. Please keep this in mind. Country is important, but more than that, what is important is the university or the education provider. It doesn't matter if you're going to find a good course, good university. Please go ahead with that. Okay, Vishal?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay. Sania, you have a question. Please unmute yourself. You can turn on your camera and you can go ahead with the question.
Hello.
Yes, Sania.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Actually,
Hi, good
I've
afternoon.
completed my bachelor's and now I'm pursuing my master's in LLM
Okay.
in intellectual property rights. Now I'm thinking for some certification course in Canada or
Okay.
any other country which you can suggest
What sort of certification courses are you looking forward to?
related to IPR only, intellectual property rights.
Okay, as far as I know, there are a couple of colleges in Canada and UK that provide such courses. In terms, you do have a lot of options in USA as well. So you need to, again, same answer. First, what you need to do is you need to find out as to which course you want to do.
Okay.
And what are the options that you have. Then once you have the options, second thing that you can do is make a list of colleges and universities that provides you this particular course. This is a step. Second, once you have made a list of colleges and universities that provides these courses, third step would be so this is a step for everybody that you can follow. Third step would be for you to find out, try and connect to alumni of these universities. You get the alumni information on the university website. Try and connect to the alumni, because Sania, for you, the course that you're going to or you want to pursue is something which is not common. So you need to be sure as to that course in that particular university is really beneficial for you or not. And for you to get that surety, there are two ways. You either get in touch with the alumni or you get in touch with the university representative directly. So most of the universities do have university representatives in India, right? So as
Okay.
me, if I am a overseas counselor, I would also first sit down with you and make a list and then go ahead and advise you on which course you want to go ahead. Have I given, are you satisfied? Have I given you a justifiable answer, Sania?
Yeah, sure. It was perfect.
Right? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Azmat, you had a question. You have raised your hand. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Good evening, sir. Good
Hi.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I want to. So, are you saying something?
Please go ahead. You had a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, I am currently in 12th standards when it tricks for suggestions for me.
Sorry.
Any suggestions for me? Like, what should I do after my 12th?
After your 12th,
Yes, sir.
what are you interested into?
Sir, I have taken science plus maths, and I am currently preparing for JEE Mains.
Okay.
And after that, I want to do computer science, mainly a game developer.
Game developer. You want to become a
Yes, sir.
developer, you want to go for game development. Okay. So if you want to become a
Yes, sir.
game developer, you have good courses in USA and Canada both.
Okay, sir.
Right? Again. So if you ask me what should I do, what generally a counselor does is the counselor sits down with you and tries to find out what are your area of interests and then suggests you as to where you want to go ahead, right?
Okay, sir.
So if you what I understand, if you want to go ahead with game development, go ahead. You have good amount of options in Canada and USA both.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Junisha, you have a question. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So my question is, can we get a job like in India after pursuing our studies abroad?
Of course. Why not?
Okay, that was the thing. And what is this GRE exam?
Okay. Junisha, what are you studying right now?
I'm doing my bachelor's in arts.
Okay.
Arts.
Bachelor's in arts.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah. And what do you want to study further?
I want to do like a clinical psychologist. I want to do that. Like I want to become a clinical psychologist. So yeah.
Okay. Why do you want to switch from Bachelor's of Arts and to clinical psychology? Yeah.
Means, sir, now I'm doing my bachelor's, no? Bachelor's in arts. So in my TY, I'll be taking psychology only.
Okay. So you'll have.
So master's,
Mhm.
I'll be doing clinical, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I got your point. So if you want to study psychology, what you said, psychology, diploma in psychology,
Clinical.
clinical psychology, diploma or masters?
Yes.
Diploma or masters?
Masters.
Question. Masters. Okay.
Must.
First thing, if you're doing your bachelor's in arts in India, it is a 3-year course or a 4-year course?
3 years.
Okay, so it's a 3-year course.
3 years.
Now the challenge in most of the countries is, especially in Canada, you have good amount of courses in clinical psychology in Canada, but the challenge is they require 12+4 education.
Okay.
Okay, that's one challenge. Second challenge is, I'm sure if you are pursuing your bachelor's in arts, you will not have any subjects related to mathematics.
No, sir.
Right? That's the second challenge that most of the colleges and universities they need at least mathematics, one subject, for you to become eligible to apply for clinical psychology. That's the second challenge. Okay, but then these two challenges can be overcome. Okay, there are a couple of colleges in Canada and UK both that will give you an admission in clinical psychology. Canada, again, if you're going towards Canada, go ahead with a PG course, post-graduation diploma course. And if you're going for UK, go ahead with a master's course. But then there will be a condition as to you need to study at least one mathematics unit whenever you are in the university. That will be a condition, and that condition will be there on your offer letter.
Okay, sir.
Okay. One mathematics subject you need to have, because what they understand is how they have drafted these courses is like basic mathematics education everybody needs to have, and that's the reason they keep that as a compulsion. So it depends on the university and the college. Either you study one course of mathematics here and then go ahead with that particular certificate, or depending on the certificate or depending on the offer that the university is giving you, you can go ahead with one unit in the unit,
Okay, sir.
right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sana Banu has a question. Please unmute yourself and. Sana, you can go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, Sana. Tell me, please.
Yeah, so my question is, I'm currently into marketing profession
Okay.
and I am looking for MBA in abroad. So I would like your suggestion for the same. So, and I am also like for MBA, like if it is, I have done my BTech and now 2.5 years of experience working in Bangalore. So I am looking for abroad options, but same time I want the option like for SCM and all. I got to know that it is a lot of exposure in SCM, supply chain management and all. So, but I don't have a clear picture of it. So I would like your suggestion on that.
Okay. When did you finish your graduation?
It's 2018.
2018. And you also done your master's, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
And graduation into which stream?
It was triple E.
Triple E. Master's
Yes.
stream? MBA.
Sorry?
You've done your master's in MBA.
No. I am looking for that. I have just completed
You want
my.
to go ahead for master's
yes,
in MBA. Okay. MBA or any mechanical or any technical.
MBA, not MTech or anything.
And into the management sector, you want to go ahead with supply chain management.
I don't want to, but I am looking for it because I don't have other idea about anything. Like I just want to know about it. So, like, is it fine with the SCM thing or entrepreneur or anything else? It is about exposure. What I'm asking you is.
I got it. But then, what I want you to think, Sana, is any topic, any subject you pick, there you will definitely find exposure. You will definitely find a lot of opportunities. But the question to ask yourself is, are you interested in that particular topic? Are you interested in that particular subject?
Okay.
It completely depends on your interest. Okay, so for example, I've done my BBA. I know a person who has done chartered accountancy has a good market. But whether I'm interested in pursuing CA or not is the question.
Okay.
SCM for you, the answer is SCM does have a lot of exposure. It does have a lot of scope because the entire world needs, they need people who are good with the supply chain system, expert, right? But what are you interested into is the question that you need to ask yourself, because unless you are interested in a particular field and you don't pursue that course, trust me, you will leave that course in the 6 months.
Okay.
Because it is not a one-off. It is not. Sorry.
So, but the thing is, it is about interest. That is true. Interest is in MBA only, but like if I go ahead with SCM also, I have the knowledge for SAP and how it works exactly, because I have worked into production also. So that knowledge is there anyhow. But the thing is, it is about the procedure and all, which has to come from the initial point. So that is what I'm talking about. So we will be getting that thing, and
I couldn't get the last part. The procedure as in? Hello? Sana?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, procedure as in?
Sorry, sir, I was getting a call. Yeah. So procedure as in, sir, like once we get into the course, like it will be like, if you get into it, is it necessary that you know about it, like about how it works and all? Because someone who is working in ABB, suppose ABB supply chain, if they're working in India, if they go for MBA and they work there, it will be quite easier for them to grab everything, right? And wherein I am into marketing and I don't know anything there, so That procedure I'm asking about is, will that be a difficult thing, or I can go for it?
See, as far as you are, again, I'm coming to the same point. As far as you are interested, it will not be a difficult thing for you to pick it up and learn. Because supply chain management is something which is related to MBA, that is for sure. But
Yeah.
it is a niche. It is a niche market. It is a niche course. It is not generic MBA. Because even if somebody studies MBA, supply chain management, the subject is there. But if you are looking forward to get a specialization in supply chain management, whether you are able to pick up that or not, whether it interests you or not, whether you are really wanted to make your career in that or not, is something which you need to think on.
Correct.
Right?
What other option other than that SCM I can choose, sir? I agree it is about interest, as you said, but I would like your suggestion on what other course.
You have options like global business management.
Okay.
You have options like a generic MBA, and if you're still not sure as to what specialization I need to pick up, go for a generic MBA. You have one entire year to select a specialization. Once you have studied the basic subjects, by the end of the first year, you will know what specialization I want to. Even that you have an option, right?
Okay.
And you also have an option in terms of marketing. You also in terms of retail sales, right? If you are not interested into this stuff, you also have an option into the management part. If you have done your bachelor's in EEE, you also have an option to pursue master's in project management.
Okay.
Right? Options are new, n number of options. Project management was not there before, but it is now a demanding a course.
Okay, so.
Right?
That is what I was asking you, so yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Your question.
Hello?
I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So I'll take one more question. Kanishka, we have already had a discussion. I've taken your question. I will take one more question from Bharat and Ayush, the last two questions. For the other people who need to discuss more, please get in touch with the person who invited you on this session. That person will help you with my contact information. I already shared how you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, but then that person will definitely help you with my contact information, how you can get in touch with me, and then we can have a one-to-one discussion. If you have a question, please unmute yourself. And
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, as you told that and we won't get job until we study in abroad.
Right.
Is any another option to do to earn there directly?
No, honestly, no. Because
so you want to study compulsorily.
See, understand this, Bharat. There are a couple of countries. So if you want to, for example, if you are here in India and you want to move to, say, Dubai to earn, you do get options to go directly and earn, right?
Yes, sir.
Then it also depends on the country. It also depends on your background. It also depends on what you have studied.
Yes, sir. Now I am pursuing MBA in India, sir.
Okay.
So I wanna earn in abroad. So I thinking that I can earn directly from abroad.
Bharat, the thing is, it is a challenging task for you to get a permit directly from India to any other country. It is a very, very, very lengthy process. It is a very challenging task. So whenever somebody asks such a question, I would say, if you really want to, settle down, or if you really want to move ahead in any other country, the quickest and the easiest way is to go on a student visa.
Okay, sir.
Quickest and the easiest way is to go on a student visa when compared to any visas.
Okay, sir.
Right?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ayush, please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question.
Yes, sir. I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Sir, I am currently pursuing my bachelor's and is currently in my third year of BTech EC.
Okay.
So I wanna know, I want hands-on experience in VLSS sector, process
Okay.
of manufacturing. So I searched a lot and found Taiwan is good for it.
Mhm.
So can you suggest me some universities or what should I do to get ASAP experience on it?
Okay. So, Ayush,
Maybe a diploma course or something.
your question is very niche in terms of VLSI. As far as I know, there are 2 or 3 universities in Canada that provides a course in VLSI specifically. I remember working on this on such a case with one of my students 2 years back. So as far as I'm not able to recall the university's name, but then there are 2 or 3 colleges or universities in Canada that provides you VLSI course, right?
Yes.
And then there are a couple of colleges, universities in UK as well.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I have not done any research in terms of Taiwan and in terms of VLSI in Taiwan, but I need to do my research in order to give you an answer. But I don't want to say anything, right?
Yes,
Honestly,
yes,
I have not done my research in terms of VLSI for Taiwan,
yes, sir.
right?
Right. So, UK and Canada are good, but there are no fabs or manufacturing units as such in UK and Canada much. So, experience part will be less quite in the UK and Canada.
That's 100% correct. What you can do is, Ayush, you
Yes.
can so the exposure is, it's not that the exposure is less. See, if somebody is providing a course in a college, now these countries, how they operate is, if they're providing a course, they do have manufacturing units in that particular country, but the challenge is getting a job is a challenging task. If you're going to that particular country and you really like the course and you are satisfied with the course and the university, it totally depends. It completely depends on you and it depends on your education and your expertise, how you are finding a job, because every country will definitely have some or the other manufacturing unit.
Yes, sir.
What can help you is, whenever you're studying in that university, whoever is your professor, make good connects with that professor. And that professor is the only point of contact who will connect you from, or who will connect you to the industries in your sector.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know a couple of people who have got part-time jobs. Remember the story I was talking about, the person who did masters in photography?
Yes, sir.
The case was such a thing wherein before even she got the admission, before it so happened that the university representatives had come to India and we had the opportunity for her to meet them. Okay, before even she got the admission, before even she moved to UK, they had offered a part-time job right there in India for Canada, for UK. How that happened? It only happened because of the rapport that was built up in the half an hour conversation.
Yep.
Such miracles do come in, will come in with you. You will definitely experience them.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? So Keshav, thank you so much. I would like to end the session. It is almost 12:55 and we are towards the end of the session. I would like to thank Nilbit Learning for giving me this opportunity to deliver this session today. I also want to extend my thanks to Keshav, to you, for giving such a good introduction. I do have a lot of messages on the chat box. I'm really sorry if I'm not able to answer all those questions. I would request you to get in touch with the person who invited you for this session. They will help you connect with me. You can go ahead with that. During the session, if I have unknowingly, if I've hurt, or if I've hurt you, I really apologize for that. Thank you so much, Nilbit Learning, for giving me this opportunity once again. Thank you so much, Mr. Hardik Desai, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you so much to the entire team of Nilbit Learning. Thank you. Thank you.